Imagine you are standing at the very edge of forever. Behind you, the universe is screaming, stars are exploding, galaxies are colliding, and eons are passing in the blink of an eye. But in front of you, total terrifying stillness. You reach out your hand toward the horizon of a black hole. To an observer watching from a distance, your hand doesn't just slow down. It freezes. You become a living statue etched into the fabric of space-time, glowing with a faint, dying amber light. You are still there, yet you are gone. We've always been told that time is a river, flowing relentlessly toward the future. But physics whispers a different, darker truth. Time is not a constant. It is a fragile illusion that can be stretched, warped, and eventually broken. What happens to a soul when the clock stops ticking, but the universe keeps moving? What does it feel like to inhabit the moment where now becomes forever? Tonight, we aren't just looking at the stars. We are looking at the end of time itself. To understand the death of time, we have to look at the man who murdered our common sense, Albert Einstein. Before him, we thought time was a universal heartbeat. 1 second for you was 1 second for a star on the other side of the cosmos. Einstein realized that time is actually a physical fabric, space-time. And like any fabric, it can be pulled. If you want to see time struggle to breathe, you only need two things: immense speed or crushing gravity. Think about a GPS satellite. It sits high above the Earth, where gravity is slightly weaker than it is beneath your feet. Because it's further away from the planet's mass, time actually moves faster for that satellite. Only by fractions of a billionth of a second, but it's real. If engineers didn't account for this temporal drift, your phone's navigation would fail by miles every single day. Time is already slipping away from us. You are literally aging faster in your head than you are in your feet. We live in a world of subtle temporal fractures, but these are just tremors before the earthquake. To truly see time stop, we have to go somewhere much, much darker. Imagine a world made of lead. Now imagine that lead compressed into a sphere the size of a city. Now imagine that sphere collapsing further until it has no size at all, only infinite weight. This is a black hole, the ultimate graveyard for time. As why? You approach the event horizon, the point of no return. Gravity becomes so intense that it drags space-time down with it, like water spiraling into a drain. Here, the strange begins. If you were falling toward a black hole, you wouldn't feel your watch slowing down. To you, every second would feel normal. But as you looked back at the universe you left behind, you would see it go into fast forward. You would watch the sun burn out in minutes. You would see civilizations rise and crumble like dust. You would see the very light of the universe shift from blue to a blinding white as the history of the cosmos is delivered to your eyes in a single, overwhelming instant. You are falling into a hole in reality, and the price of entry is the rest of eternity. You are experiencing gravitational time dilation at its absolute limit. You are becoming a ghost, existing in a sliver of time that the rest of the universe has already forgotten. But what if we didn't use gravity? What if we used light? Light is the speed limit of the universe. It is the only thing that travels at 186,000 miles per second. But there is a haunting consequence to this speed. According to relativity, the faster you move through space, the slower you move through time. If you could board a ship that traveled at 99.9% the speed of light, you could travel to the center of our galaxy and back in what feels like 40 years. But when you stepped off that ship, the Earth you knew would be gone. It would be 50,000 years in the future. Everyone you loved, every building you stood in, every memory of your species would be prehistoric bones. Now, take it to the edge. What does a photon, a particle of light, experience? For a photon, time does not exist. From the perspective of a beam of light, the moment it is emitted from a star and the moment it hits your eye are the exact same instant. It doesn't matter if that star is 10 billion light years away. To the light, there is no distance and there is no duration. It exists in a state of eternal now. When time stops, the universe shrinks to a single point. If you were light, you would be everywhere at once, and yet you would never have a single moment to think, to feel, or to be. To stop time is to surrender your existence to the void. There is a final, more terrifying place where time stops. Not because of speed and not just because of gravity, but because the universe simply ends. Deep inside a black hole lies the singularity. This is where our math breaks. This is where the laws of physics throw up their hands and quit. At the singularity, the curvature of space-time becomes infinite. If time is a dimension that allows for before and after, the singularity is the place where those words lose all meaning. It is a frozen knot in the rug of reality. Some physicists suggest that inside this point, time actually switches places with space. You can no longer move backward or forward in space, you can only move toward the center. The future is no longer a time, it is a direction. This is the existential horror of the cosmos. We are biological machines built to perceive sequence. We need a yesterday to understand today. We need a tomorrow to have hope, but the universe doesn't care about our need for sequence. It is capable of creating pockets of reality where never and always are the same thing. When you stand where time stops, you aren't just looking at a clock that won't tick. You are looking at the death of causality. You are looking at a God-shaped hole in the map of existence. We spend our lives fighting against time. We mourn its passing, we fear its end, and we try to save every second we can. We treat time like a precious commodity, a gold coin that we spend until our pockets are empty. But perhaps the most frightening thought isn't that our time is limited. It's that time itself is a local phenomenon, a luxury afforded only to those of us drifting safely in the quiet shallows of space. Somewhere out there right now, there are places where the clock has stopped. There are regions of the vacuum where the past hasn't happened yet and the future is already over. We are tiny, fleeting flickers of light in a universe that is mostly composed of a cold, timeless dark. Next time you look up at the night sky, remember, you aren't just looking across space. You are looking through the layers of a broken clock. And one day, far in the future, the universe itself will grow so cold and so empty that change will become impossible. The last star will flicker out. The last black hole will evaporate. And time, having nothing left to measure, will simply stop. And in that final silence, there will be no one left to notice that forever has finally arrived.